I would like to make this video as quick as possible because I feel absolutely shattered. It may not show. Basically, I'll be given a key to a room tomorrow in a private tenancy. Because thanks to Monique at Eastbourne Borough Council, she's managed to fast track this. So I should think so. And do you know something? I haven't had anyone speak so nicely to me for so long. But then, of course, it makes me suspicious because of all the fakery and the fact this person works with people who have caused me so much trauma and distress. And I'm going to email Monique this because, as lovely as she was to me, there are questions that need answering here. I don't expect her to answer those questions, but to suddenly have someone suddenly being really, really over the top nice to you when for so long you've been a victim of their corruption, tyranny, police beatings, and to be told that I am resilient, which is what that useless social worker said, this Anna. I'm not resilient, actually. I'm hiding a lot of trauma because after she said to me, "Oh, you're all good to go. We've got this Monique from Housing Solutions," and I'm not being funny, Monique, if you're watching me, but I'm going to email this to you. Because I'm going to put a link in the description because your colleague Stella, I didn't say this to you yesterday, but Stella from Customer First, she said, "Oh yes, I remember you." Well, I found the link from over a year ago when I self-funded the Cavendish Hotel for my safety for 9 months. I've put that link in the description so you can see Stella from Customer First hanging up on me, and she and several other call handlers, not just in that video that I've put a link in the description to, but several other call handlers hung up on me. So if Monique has spoken to me so many times in the past, what has she done about it? Because it's me that has fought so hard. Do you know what? After I spoke to Monique, I even spoke to her earlier this year at the property after I had my flat taken from me. Police beat me, took my flat, and I still don't know how my father died, and that was supported accommodation. All these scams, all these, I'm trying very hard. I've spoken to someone from a law firm who thinks I might be entitled to compensation. Yes, of course I am. It's whether they will or whether they won't get me the compensation. I came very close to suing the Herald, and the legal ombudsman tried to get the law firm that tried to convict me of me being suicidal on Beachy Head. The lady, because I'm going to ring the legal ombudsman again, but I don't want to talk about that because I've got to keep what I'm saying as confidential as possible. As it is, there are nutters out there. I'll come to that in a minute. The police abusing powers community are still harassing me. They're nutters. That Dan is a nutcase. Someone rang my phone and my partner answered it, and it was to do with one of Dan's troll accounts from police abusing powers. So you've got to be careful. There are a lot of nutters out there. Truthers community, there are nutters There are nutters everywhere. I've just been listening to a retired police interceptor about his views on police auditing, and to begin with I thought, oh, what an idiot and what disgusting language. But then I listened to the whole of the video, and then I realised why he was saying what he was saying, because there are nutcase police auditors out there, in the same way there are nutcases in the police abusing powers community. There are nutcases who followed this retired police officer back to his property and tried to break in, and these were so-called police auditors. So again, you've got to be very careful. If you don't know it, you know, this is what the Bible talks about. There's truth and lies and good and evil in everything, and it's just sifting it out, the wheat from the chaff. So, you know, so this retired police officer, obviously, from now on, when I watch police audits, I'm now going to have a better understanding of why some of them say, can I ask why you're filming here? You know, because of the cars and the security, and because of the nutters out there. The reason why I'm obviously it's given, you've got to look at the bigger picture, because obviously I'm a victim of police crime, corruption, and so many people are. And obviously that's why I support police auditors. But again, like with the nutcases who, I couldn't see them, I'd never even met them, so you don't know who and what is watching you. If you're extremely vulnerable like me, these people, while I was documenting and reaching out to members of the council, there were people in the background who had nothing better to do than ring up the House of Commons, the local MP office, and be abusive. And I had no idea, because I'm the vulnerable person who's reaching out. So, anyway, so I've gone off the subject, but it's all, as always, everything's linked up. What I was saying about Monique at the council, because that link in the description to just one of the videos, just one of several videos where I had several call handlers at the council hanging up on me. So there was a lot of gossip in the background, just as there is with adult social care. All they do is they put notes. It's exactly the same as being back in the playground at school. I worked really hard when I was a carer. I had a mental breakdown. I've got real trauma in my family, real trauma. That's why an intelligent locum said that my transgender sister and I need trauma-based therapy, but instead I had the trauma of this mass psychopathy from the council, the social services and the police. And it's been one hell of an eye-opener. Resilient, yes, I see what you mean, and yes, it's been said many times, but hang on here a minute, because when I got off the phone last night to Monique at Eastbourne Borough Council, I had a rather unpleasant night. Anyone who doesn't understand trauma and PTSD, it will never leave you, and you have to find ways to handle it. But I was having anxiety attacks whilst I was dreaming, and when I woke up I was shattered. I could not, so I've had to sleep all day in order for my body to try and recover everything that's happened, well, in the past few weeks, because I've still got to report this law firm and her manageress and the big name hotel, the hotel chain I won't mention, but this big hotel chain that you often see on the TV ads. I was self-funding for 4 weeks and they deceived me, told me to go to the hospital and then packed up my stuff, causing me more problems. 5 nights in a row, 5 sleepless nights in a row. So, Monique at the council, it sounds to me like your life is, if you're going abroad and you're asking for baths, well, whoopee-doo for you. And I'm not being rude. I'm just... There were things I didn't say to you that I could have said on the phone, but I was being polite as you were being polite. And seriously, it begs the question, if you've spoken to me so many times throughout all my trauma, and your colleagues have hung up on me, and Stella that I spoke to before I spoke to you, I was passed to you by Stella, and as I said, if you look at the link in the description, she's one of the many who hung up on me. So the question is, what were you doing all this time, Monique? Why? You are from Housing Solutions. Because I will stand by this. All those who've let me down, who haven't done anything, you are complicit in this. Okay, so I get it. There's a lot of jealousy out there, but I just think, get over yourselves. It's mass psychosis. This is one of the reasons why I had to leave my job. It's funny when I laugh when people say, why don't you get a job? Because I'm doing everyone else's jobs. I've never worked so hard in my life. This is the funny thing, right? I worked hard as a carer. And I found out later on in my life that 20 years later, I'd had an early midlife crisis. So 20 years ago, I was working hard as a carer, caring for the elderly. They loved me because I was a genuine empath. I was bullied so badly by other carers, including a matron, that I was physically sick and I had to call in. No, I didn't call in sick. No, I was sick on my first day at Cheney's in the next job. But the previous place I'd been in, would you believe? Wait for it. I mean, I don't know if I've ever said this on my channel before. I'm sure I have. But even Lisette, from that psychiatric hellhole, she changed towards me. See, when you've got it, you know, when they're all in the office together, they're like bullies in a playground. They're like, an Eastbourne Borough Council has got the worst reputation. They are linked with all these other institutions. Okay? So I'm speaking, I'm there for the empaths. I'm not there for the narcissists. There are too many of them. They choose to do this. And Monique, it's got nothing to do with funding. I am telling you, I've never known anything like it. And the more people say, leave it in the past, the more I'm determined to keep on and on and on about it. Because I'm telling you, there's going to come a day where there will be people, even if it's just a few people, and they will say, thank you so much, Bryony. Thank you so much. You know, you make a difference to those of us who don't feel we can say anything, those of us who don't feel we can speak up. It's no good coming to me now and being all, I think you're so brave. No. You could have caused me cancer. You could have caused me dementia. You could have given me a heart attack or a stroke. You could have finished me off. I'm not interested. I will say what my Saviour will say when he returns. Depart from me, you evildoers of iniquity, for I never knew you. Because that's exactly how I feel. I never knew you. Don't come to me. Hush your tongue, get behind me. You know? I'm only interested in those who have struggled for so long and genuinely need help. Genuinely. That licensee that attacked me, you can hear her in the background on the video. It's live on YouTube, and it's a crime that has not been looked at, and Grace Hill, the housing needs specialist, is complicit in this. That's why I've had so many views for that video. That's why I've had 600 views for the video that that I'm going to put in the link in the description to. 600 views and 14 likes. Because word was passed around. And it got back to the councillors. You see? How do you do? Never even met me before. What does that tell you? They've got a lot of guilt on their backs and a lot to hide. I don't need a job. The irony that I'm on severe disability, and yet I have never worked harder in my life since I've been on PIP and severe disability. The government doesn't give anyone the incentive to work. What pittance to be abused, to have a matron make you physically vomit from stress that could cause cancer. And her sister was known as Sister, because if you're a matron, you call the sister. But the irony was, she really was like a clone of her. And as I said, Lisette, one of the nurses from Sussex Partnership, even she knew who I was talking about. She said, oh yes, I used to do cleaning there. I heard she could be a bitch. Yeah. Made me physically sick. And I was saying to Monique that my late mother had to call in sick for me because I'd taken an overdose of my fluoxetine. But nobody knew that. Nobody knew that because I was doing the act. And the sad thing is, the elderly residents I remember hearing one of them saying, oh, what a lovely, happy girl she is. And I thought, you have no idea. Me? I might be lovely, but I'm not happy. Not happy because I'm putting on this OTT. So anyway, I hope that I've never met Monique, and I don't know what's in people's hearts, but it would be nice to think that she was being genuine. I got to be careful how I word this, but come on, I mean, I'm going to email Monique at the council because I'm just thinking, if any of you lot cared, you would have done something. Because one of the things that Monique said to me was, people at people at St Mary's House, she said one of the members of staff at St Mary's House said, I'm fed up with being piggy in the middle. And that's how I've described myself, piggy in the middle with my sisters. Well, the only reason why my eldest sister came back into our lives was because my mother got so ill. She lost her memory temporarily just before she died of a rare cancer. And she thought she had phoned me up, but she phoned up my eldest sister because she lost her memory, because stress can do terrible things. A lifetime of trauma and stress that she hid very well. And, my eldest sister used to poison me against my mother and my middle sister, and they'd say, you know what she's like? She called my mother an effing bitch through the letterbox. She was damaged because of my father and the violence from him and the violence from his father to him and the generational curses that we need to break and nip it in the bud. That's why we have a society the way it is. But it's YAHSHUA that I have to thank. Darren's right. I've humbled myself before YAHSHUA. My partner's right. It's YAHSHUA. This is not resilience, though. Like I said, I just woke up absolutely. I've had to sleep all day, and I've had, as I said, anxiety attacks, and there's no excuse though. I could go on and on and on, and I could write a very black comedy about what's happened to me. I could write, it's I've never known anything like it though. There's no excuse. Funding. Are you talking about the taxpayers' money that they used to cause a vulnerable adult more trauma and make her more suicidal, to use our world famous suicide spot, Beachy Head, to somehow make a few scratches where I have acted in self-defense. I couldn't act in self-defense with PC McCarthy because he grabbed me so tightly. He caused me bruising all over my body, and I had to get paramedics to look at my injuries. And then the second time when they took my home, using these police thugs, this is what I mean, they're using these thugs. This is all by design, by the way, folks. All this tyranny, taking your homes, it's all part of Agenda 2030. They want to take everything from you. They're taking your children, they're trafficking them, the government are getting paid because children are currency for these elite Satanists. They just want everyone forced into poverty. With one of these, I won a smartwatch on Brighton Pier. I'm in two minds about destroying it or selling it because it's evil. It's all about surveillance. A lot of these things are evil anyway. Whenever I've won something that's demonic or, to do with idols, my partner will destroy it. If I win something from the machine that's got, the coin machines, like dream catchers, all the stuff that I used to be into. But it's just as evil as a smartwatch, which is worth a bit. But I'll keep the ordinary watches. But even that's pagan because, if we had a watch that measured by the moon the way the Hebrew calendar does, then anyway, I've gone off on one again, but there we go. I think Monique, you work with these people and you could have done everything to stop this, but you can't. You're not going to sweet talk me, I'm afraid. I see through everything, and I will email you about this, and I'm sure I'll get a lot of views, just as I did with Grace Hill's. You mentioned my name. I'm going to tell my manager. Really? How old are you? I've just woken up in a dystopian reality. But I thank Yahweh for showing me if these dreadful things if this evil hadn't been done to me, if I hadn't been broken and traumatized and beaten by the police and all the rest of it endlessly for years on end, forced to sleep rough, and all the other stuff that I haven't mentioned, then I wouldn't have realised how corrupt and evil everything is. So, you know, the fakery doesn't... You got to validate what I'm saying before you can even begin to get my respect. And on that note, Intel saying that I want to take the police off the cliffs with them. Another excuse. It's all set up this way, but it's all going to come tumbling down.